Hey, welcome to or welcome back to my channel, IndieAuthor Jill. So it's February 28th. I've not had the best voice, so I haven't been able to do the recap video. I was supposed to do it yesterday, and yesterday I came home and I was dead tired, and I was just like, done. Took a shower, went to bed, and that was it. So, today I just had to do it, like, in the middle of the day. I read 6 of the Christmas books, but we're not going to get into that because I will go over those in December as part of the Advent calendar thing. So we're only focusing on the books that I read from the 100 Book Challenge. I read Shattered Lives by Vineet Verma, Take a Shot by Paul S. Anderson, After Dallas, which I do not have right with me right now, by Luis Rivera, Crimson the Chroma Veiled by C. Britt, The Conjurer and the Corpse by C.E. Coleman, and Digital Extremities by Adam Bassett. And I'll go through those. I'm going to start off with the ones that I DNF'd. And normally I don't do review videos for books that I didn't like, because I don't see how that serves the author in any way. The point of these videos is to give the authors something to use for their marketing, because they are self-published authors and they have very limited tools and, in a lot of cases like me, limited resources. But Shattered Lives by Vineet Verma was the first one that I DNF'd, and I DNF'd this because it's a thriller and I'm not very keen on thrillers. But I passed it off to a friend of mine who does like thrillers, and they not only liked the book, they compared it to James Patterson's Women's Murder Club. Which makes sense because they also tried to get me, that friend also tried to get me into reading James Patterson's The Women's Murder Club. And I did try the first 3 books, and I just couldn't get into them. So I DNF'd it. It's not a bad book. It's well written. There's not, there aren't any, you're not going to find a whole lot of typos or anything like that in there. Bad decisions, maybe. But what character makes great decisions every single time? But yeah, I'm not big on thrillers, personally. And some of you may, who are new to the channel and have no idea where this 100 book challenge came from, might be asking, why the heck did you buy it if it was a thriller and you don't like thrillers? I didn't have a choice. That's why. So the 100 book challenge, last August I asked people to basically submit any books that were self-published or independently published, like through an independent publisher. And there was no genre specifications. I had no limitations on, the only limit I had was that it had to be available for purchase at that time. It had to be self-published, or it had to be published through an independent author or independent publisher. That was the only limitations. So then I took all of those and I put them on this giant wheel, and I let the wheel choose 100 of those books. That was one of the hundreds. I did not get to choose any of these books. So don't come at me that, well, you shouldn't have chosen a book if you bought a thriller if you didn't like thrillers. I didn't give myself the choice. You know, so that's why I got a thriller. Some of the thrillers I've gotten I have actually liked, but this was one that I didn't. You know, so there's that. The second book that I DNF'd was actually the one I don't have right now, After Dallas by Luis Rivera. And After Dallas focuses on, I guess I should tell you what Shattered Lives is about. Shattered Lives is about a writer. He gets his wife, he finds out his wife is cheating on him, and he falls into a temptation from wild van, and things start happening to him and his family, and now he's got to figure out how to keep his family safe, and whether or not it's the wild band that's trying to hurt his family or not. After Dallas by Louise Rivera is about what happened after the assassination of John F. K. in Dallas, Texas. There was multiple POVs. There was some time jumping, going back and forth between right after that and a little bit farther into the future. And it's, going back and forth. The POV swaps make sense for the story. The time jumping makes sense for the story. It just, again, it was another story that was well written. It just wasn't for me. As a matter of fact, like I said, I don't have the book with me right now because it's been traveling through my circle of friends, and what I'm getting back from them is they love it. One friend took it, and he commented on how well written and edited it was, that he really enjoyed it. The next friend, he liked it. He really enjoyed the different time jumps and how it tied together. And then the third friend, she's actually reading it with her husband. They're at the point where I stopped reading it, I lost interest, and they're still enjoying it. So, yeah, they liked it. Again, not bad books, just not for me. So I didn't do the video on them. The next one I DNF'd was Take a Shot by Paul S. Anderson. This is about Dave, and he kind of comes to a conclusion that there is a chance that he should stop drinking. He gets to he doesn't necessarily hit a wall, and most times with addiction recovery, that's what it takes, is you have to hit a wall before any kind of addiction recovery can take place. I had a minor issue with the book, and I had a bigger issue with the book, and the minor issue was the swearing. I don't have a problem with swearing in a book. My favorite book of last year, Rise of the Dragon Witch, Finley is a New York college student and a spoiled brat to boot. She cusses as much as you would think a New York college student would. But when especially a New York college student who gets yanked out of New York and into a whole new world and told that she has to save a kingdom. So I don't have a problem with swearing. I do have a problem when the characters feel like they're going to die if they don't drop the F-bomb every other sentence. And like, this thing is riddled with cussing, so that took me out of it, first of all. But the bigger issue for me was, it just hit too close to home for me. If you can get past the swearing, and you ever want to know what the mindset of someone, someone who is on the cusp of addiction recovery is, go ahead and read this book. But I went through this not only with somebody else that I cared about, trying to help them through their addiction recovery, while trying to help them get to the point of addiction recovery, while I was trying to deal with my own addictions at the same time. And a lot of therapists will tell you that someone who's drowning cannot help someone else who's drowning. But, that doesn't stop us from trying. But, yeah, I went through this with someone else where I finally got them to the point of recovery while I was trying to deal with my own addictions as well. They ended up relapsing, and when they were sober for about 7 or 8 months before they relapsed, and at that point I realized I could not help them. I had to just help myself, and I had to leave that relationship. You know, it's really hard with your own addiction recovery if you're around others that are doing, you know, so it's hard to be around other people drinking, even if they're not alcoholics. If you're an alcoholic or a recovering alcoholic, it's hard being around other people who are drinking. That being said, you can't avoid people who are drinking forever. That is going to happen, you know, so for me, I ended up having to go into a recovery program. I got about halfway through this book and I had to stop because, like I said, it was too close to home for me, and it's not something that I just wanted to relive. So, again, 3 books, not bad, just not for me. Which leaves the 3 books that I did finish reading, which was Crimson the Chroma Veil by C. Britt. This is about Mel, who lives in the fantasy world, the storybook world. She knows Beauty and the Beast. She knows Snow White. I like how the stories the fairy tales were turned on their heads, but she escapes that world and enters our world, and in our world she meets Luke, and she falls in love with Luke. Well, she ends up having a pretty good life until her past catches up to her and bounty hunters come after her and put a target on Luke. So now she's got to take Luke back to the fantasy world, or the storybook world, and get his mark removed so she can protect him. And then she wants to, she's just like, we're just gonna, keep you out of this. Do our best to keep you out of this, and you're just gonna go home and be safe. And he's like, absolutely not. You're my girlfriend. You're my life. I'm staying here. Where you go, I'm going, and we're gonna face this together. And she figures out that she realizes that the only way that she's gonna be able to move on with a future, is to face her past. The next one I read was The Conjurer and the Corpse. Just think of Sherlock Holmes but make it magic, you know. So there's a lot of magic in this world. There's crystal technology, and he gets called in, Redwald gets called in because a woman has discovered a body in her study. The body she discovered is her own. So he's got to figure out, how did your dead body end up in this study, but you're still alive? You know. So they're suspecting a kind of time warp thing where where the killing has happened in the future and they sent the body back in time. They're not exactly sure, you know, how that happened, but so they're trying to figure that out, and so they're like, okay, then all we have to do is figure out what body took place, who is going to kill you. We have to figure out who's going to kill you and why. And that turned out really interesting. And then Digital Extremities, everything takes place in the future. And the only gripe I have with this book is the same gripe I had with the Elite Memories, is that anytime these people go in for it's taking place in 2081 and whatnot, anytime these people are going in for an operation, the medical gown, the hospital gown technology has not changed at all. Digital Extremities, by the way, was by Adam Bassett. I don't know if I said that. Anyway, 8 short stories about the future, and everybody, it's basically humans don't change. We're in a world where cosmods are a thing, cosmetic modifications, where you can get new vocal cords, and you can get a new color eyes, or you can get a mod on your arm for, there's one guy who gets a mod on his arm for glass blowing to protect his arm from being affected by the heat. And people go through these different changes, and at one point they're talking about the vocal cords, where you can change your vocal cords to get a better sounding set of vocal cords. And the vocal cord industry is going through something similar that the book industry is going through right now, where there are companies that are like, yeah, we will look for AI writers, and others are like, oh, we want original content. And so it's the same thing with this, where we're only looking for music with people who have their original vocal cords, and others are like, no, we want the best sounding, so it doesn't matter if they have their original vocal cords or not. Another one, he's talking to a guy about money, and the glass blower, he's talking about money, and he's telling him, you know, with so much money you can buy a new car, quit your job, go travel, move to a better place. And he's like, but none of that makes sense for me, because yes, I could get a new car, that makes sense, but why would I move? My parents are here, my brothers are here, my grandparents are buried here. Why would I quit my job? I'm a glass blower. No amount of money can change that. There's the very first couple in the book are dealing with a miscarriage, and how they're trying to cope with the miscarriage. And there is a modification that you can get where you can go and basically sell your memories to this company, and they will take a bad memory away from you. And there's protests about that too. And the guy at one point, he's sitting there and he's like, we have all this medical technology that we can basically rebuild an entire human being from the toe up, but we still can't figure out how to prevent a miscarriage. And he feels like, you know, there's an unfairness to that. It's not fair that we can practically build a human, but we can't keep a fetus from miscarrying, you know. And there's just, and these are not people who are, none of these stories are about like really wealthy people who have it all figured out. Some of them are just trying to survive. Others are, you know, they're college students, and they have the opportunities to go to the different universities and everything, but they've got other issues that they're working with, whether it's losing a friend or trying to decide what's going to give their life the most meaning. So I do like this book that humans don't really change. of the 3 books I finished, Digital Extremities, The Conjurer and the Corpse, and Crimson the Chroma Veiled, I think I'm going to have to say that the one I liked the most was The Conjurer and the Corpse. That's the one I liked the best. I've always been a Sherlock Holmes fan. And I think that C.E. Colmain does a really good job with the world building and the character development. So for February's book, the February book of choice is going to be The Conjurer and the Corpse. I'm currently reading one of the Christmas books right now, and then the next book I will be reading in the 100 Book Challenge is The Doppelganger, so that will be the first book of March by Samantha Middleton. So that's all I've got for you guys right now. I've got to hurry up and get this put up so you guys can see it. That's all I've got for you today. Yeah, bye.